All right, students, we are going to go into how to analyze your survey results. So that would be, I linked here to the survey. If you need to remember how to get there, you would go to your drive and it would be, your survey form would be there under your quick access, or you can just type in and search for it. So when you go to your survey, you will see your page gives you a tab that has questions and a tab that has responses. So remember, we formed different types of quantitative questions. So this was a structured response. We had a partially structured response where people were able to select more than one and also include their own. We had a rating scale where they would rate their responses. We also had a stacked rating scale where we had several statements based on the same topic, and they ranked their level of agreement for each of those statements. And then we also had a yes/no structured response question. So taking a look at our results, immediately you're going to have your population sample size here because you have the number of responses. Here we're looking at, the cool thing about Google Forms is it already generates the best type of graph to use. So in this structured response, we had 11 responses, and this gave us a breakdown of the respondent preferences for subject they enjoyed most at school. Now you can copy this. If you hover over here in the corner, it says copy chart. You click it, it copies to your clipboard. So when you're on your survey evidence, if that's the chart you're going to use, you would go into the box where it says insert image here, and you would paste. And it's going to think for a second. Just give it a second, and it's pasting. We'll come back to that. Something to be aware of when you have your partially structured responses. So you have what are the favorite snacks at Rise. So we got some pretty good data here. Here's where it gets a little tricky because we had when people are able to type in their own, it counts them as different responses, even if they typed in the same snack. So just a little word of caution with that. Just be careful when you're putting your survey results. You might have to explain that, but it still gives some good data if you were trying to figure out what type of snacks to buy. This is what our rating scale looks like. So when we have how prepared were you, we also have 11 responses, and it breaks down the category of responses. So with this type of graph, it doesn't have the label, so it'd be important to make sure that you explain your graph and explain what each of the levels means. Here, when we have our stacked rating scale, we had our levels of agreement, we have each of our labels, and then we have each of the statements. So with instructions are clear, we had 4 people that responded to that with strongly agree, 3 people with agree. So it's really cool because it gives each of the categories, and it gives you the breakdown of levels of agreement within each specific category. Did you learn anything from the presentation? There you go, it gave us in a pie chart. So let's go back to our survey analysis. So you can see here it's done thinking, it inserted our image. You can just delete that. Didn't mean to do that. Command Z. So you have your image for the pie chart that you're choosing. What was your population sample size? Again, that was 11. What was my population sample type? Well, that was convenience. I just used the most convenient people. I spelled it wrong, convenience. And then you're going to talk about what story is the graph telling you. The story this graph is telling me is that there were 4 people that state that they enjoy math, which is a different story because a lot of people normally talk about math anxiety. Why is the data shown in this type of graph? It is shown in a pie chart because it is showing percentages of the whole. And then you're going to go on and analyze the rest of your image. So again, really briefly, if you wanted to choose a different chart, you'd go back to your survey, click copy chart, go back to your analysis. You could delete that one if you wanted to change, and then Command V for paste. It's going to think for a second, and then it's going to insert your chart. So that's how you'd be able to easily insert it into your infographic. Or if you are inserting it in a different document. All right, so that is all you need to know in order to analyze your survey results from your Google Forms survey. And again, looking forward to all of the great work and results from your hard work.